with one of our biggest focus of the day, which is the COVID spike. Now, there has been a massive COVID surge across the country. India has logged over 90,000 fresh COVID cases in the last 24 hours. There has been a meteoric rise in urban centers. Even as hospitalization has been on the rise, the COVID case toll has started showing up on the healthcare workers as well. In Mumbai, 300 resident doctors have tested positive, 100 of them from JJ Hospital alone, which is one of the biggest government hospitals in the city. And nearly 100 doctors in Delhi's top hospitals have also tested positive. Now, I will have more guests who would be joining me on the broadcast to discuss the COVID preparedness and the COVID infrastructure in the country currently. And that is what is going to be our top focus right now. And joining me on the broadcast, in fact, is Dr. Subhash Salunke, who is the Senior Advisor, Public Health Foundation of India, and he's also a member of the COVID-19 task force. In fact, he joins me. Welcome, Doctor. And also Dr. Narendra Gupta is the advisor of the Health Prayas and national convener of the Jan Swasth Abhiyan is also joining me on the broadcast. So I'll actually begin with you, Dr. Salunke. Now, we've been discussing this for over the past few days, and we've seen a meteoric rise in the number of cases. It's 90,000 as we are looking at currently. The numbers are only growing. We have to first take the opening comments. What are the steps that need to be taken so that we ensure that all of us are safe?
I think we were anticipating this kind of a situation, and that is the reason 1 month back, these all issues were being discussed at the national task force level, saying that our preparedness has to ensure that the basic needed health services are maintained, and the doctors who are getting infected is just a beginning. Those who are going to come in contact with the patients are bound to get viral load from these patients, which is much higher, and bound to get infected, because in spite of 2 doses of vaccine, it is quite possible that newer variant is going to have a breakthrough infection. So this is nothing unusual or nothing that is coming as a surprise to us. It was anticipated. So under the circumstances now, there are 2 things that need to be done. One is the backup plan in the form of having the batches of the doctors, one to be kept in a rotation, and every doctor or every healthcare provider, not only doctor, nurses, supporting staff, everyone need to be immediately given the 3rd dose, even though after taking the vaccine today, it is not going to be useful tomorrow, that we are aware, but this is likely to remain for a pretty long time. And we are on the upward arm of the, this particular outbreak. So this is not going to be over in a day or 2. It is going to grow in number. It is going to impact adversely the entire health system. And at this juncture, the public health system, that is the medical college hospitals, the civil hospitals, the health staff of these institutions is getting more exposed. Private hospitals need to be always kept in readiness, and their preparedness also to ensure that the entire human resource is protected. Number 2, it is not only vaccination, strict adherence to the protocol of protecting themselves by using strictly PPEs, and there is already standard protocol which is there in the place. Unfortunately, we have seen that the healthcare providers in the hospitals do not, and many times do not, stick to this standard protocol very seriously. And that is one of the reasons why number of doctors and nurses are getting infected in much larger number. Agreed that they are being exposed to the higher doses or higher load of viruses, because obviously patients are coming to them and they are managing them. So ensuring that the healthcare providers and the entire health staff and the frontline workers are protected by way of using strict protocols of PPE, vaccination, and keeping the kind of a backup plan at our readiness, and ensuring that the people who may be identified and need to be trained, and they are not posted in ICU immediately, but appropriate training, PPE training, vaccination, and such kind of a backup plan is going to be essential. private hospitals supporting the public hospitals will be also essential. Without that, I think we'll be heading for a very serious trouble. If imagine a situation where 50-60% of the healthcare providers themselves get infected, it is quite possible, due to the vaccination history, due to the fact that this is a milder version, they may not be having a critical disease or serious disease, but their absence, physical presence is going to be impacted because they need to one treat them, get their treatment for themselves, and also they need to be quarantined or they need to be kept away. So that period, even though my strong recommendation is that certainly that period need to be shortened. If a comparatively milder version of the doctors, even though they are found to be positive, they need to be isolated for a shorter duration, not 10 days. Even it is now 7 days. Actually, as a matter of fact, I will be suggesting that why not make it 5 days? If you are totally asymptomatic, absolutely after 5 days, that person, that doctor need to be brought into the picture for taking care of the services, because presence of trained healthcare provider is going to be absolutely must, even though it is expected that the number of people requiring ICU treatments or ventilation treatment is not going to be that large. This is today's anticipation, but nothing can be guaranteed. So from that perspective, every city, every district identifying the healthcare providers in the public sector, private sector, finding out who are the one, their vaccination histories, the third dose to be given, those who are not fully trained or those who feel or those about whom we feel that need to be retrained. So everything need to be planned now on war footing in the entire country. It is not for Mumbai alone or Pune or Delhi. It is every city of this country need to prepare themselves. Let us not be fooling ourselves saying that this is primarily will be seen only in the megapolises or metropolises. No way, sir. It's going to no way this is going to remain restricted to urban areas or only some states or only some cities. It will be seen in UP, it will be in Bihar, it will be in Northeast, everywhere. So let us be prepared for that. Entire country need to gear up.
Entire country needs to gear up for this growing number of COVID cases. Absolutely, Dr. Salunke. Dr. Gupta, before I actually take those opening comments about the precautions that need to be taken from you, I'd like to add to this fact that Dr. Salunke has mentioned on the healthcare workers and how they are getting infected. I really want to understand, when the Prime Minister had gone ahead and announced that the frontline workers, the healthcare workers, will be given these precautionary doses, and they would be the first ones where these vaccination doses, the third dose, will be administered to. Why has there been a delay?
Yeah, thank you. So, you see, we are it's 2 years that we are into this pandemic. And during this 2 years period, we have learned enough about how this virus moves, its transmissibility, as well as how it affects. And then now we have seen its different variants also, from alpha, beta, gamma, Delta, and then now we have Omicron, and a new variant has been found in France. So they are going to be all those kind of things. So what all this indicates is very clearly that this particular virus and this particular disease is not going to end. It is going to stay on in one form or the other, with very different level of severity and very different level of prevalence. So now we have 4 different kind of things available to us to prevent us from this. And one of them is this non-pharmacological measures of masking, distancing, washing hands, and fourth is the vaccination. Vaccination, we also know that these vaccinations don't prevent infection. These vaccinations only reduce the severity and deaths from the disease. Now, having known all of these things, we now have to evolve our approaches, which are more specific in terms of the context, and more specific in terms of the areas. Unless we do not take these two things together, we'll be all the time firefighting. And this firefighting is not a real good approach, because if the disease is going to stay on, we have to take a more calibrated, more nuanced, more granular more grounded kind of an approach in planning things. Now we see that whole lots of health workers which are working in tertiary hospitals, essentially these are big hospitals in metropolises, who have got affected and infected. And I'm sure if the disease reaches out to rural areas or to smaller towns, then the healthcare workers also have to attend these people, and they also again will get infected. So at the moment, we know the only thing which could, help these health workers is that they take appropriate measures while dealing with the patients and also have the vaccine. Now, how many shots of the vaccine also have to be looked into. That, of course, now based on the studies abroad, we now know very clearly that the booster does protect and protect to a great extent. So, of course, that precautionary dose, which it has been called as, of course, has to be taken undoubtedly and as early as possible. But a more elaborate planning, but something more interesting which I want you to know and everybody to know is that if you take the case fatality ratio of this COVID-19, at the moment in India, the case fatality ratio means the number of people dying out of number of people getting infected is one of the lowest. It is almost what it was in March 2020. And why it is so, it needs to be understood, investigated, and thought through, because possibly it is for the reason that that there's a lag in between. More infections may happen, and because of that, more fatalities may begin to happen. But at the moment, this is what the situation is, and this situation needs to be, understood in its entirety, that why it is happening so. And those kind of epidemiological work studies have to be done. And then, we need to integrate this management of this particular disease, which is coming at the in the manner of outbreak at the moment, need to be taken into a total overall health system which we have. If you remember, the chief scientist of the World Health Organization also had been repeatedly saying that we have to build our own primary healthcare system to such an extent that the people, less and less number of people reach out to tertiary level hospitals where unnecessary load gets increased. And now there's a call all the time that if you are asymptomatic, mildly symptomatic, you should try to avoid visiting hospitals and don't get panic. And many of the times, because now the number is increasing, but out of these numbers, how many are symptomatic, how many are mildly diseased, how many are severe, and how many are moderately. If we already know about all these kind of things, then perhaps we can plan it much better. And that is the kind of a planning we need in our country. And this planning needs to be, as decentralized as possible, rather than it is very planned out in a very central manner, by apex bodies in Delhi and state headquarters. It needs to be done at the district level, sub-district level, and even below sub-district level. If all these plannings are done properly, I am sure we can manage this problem much more efficiently, with
Absolutely.
lesser economic drain on us.
Absolutely. So very important point that Dr. Gupta is making. Evolve your approach is what he is saying. And one important thing that Mr. Gupta has mentioned is to avoid precautionary admissions. I'd like to bring in Dr. Amol Deshmukh, who's also now joining us on the broadcast, who's a public health expert and also the founder, Herd Foundation. Dr. Deshmukh, thank you so much for joining us. I'd like you to take this before you actually take in the introductory comments and talk about the precautions that people need to take in the wake of the Omicron variant, or also the growing number of COVID cases. Precautionary admissions. A lot of people are getting all psyched out and getting themselves admitted to the hospitals. How would you take that, sir?
I think we've all got experience from the previous Delta wave that we had in the wave 2. and many of the elderly as well as adult population are quite concerned. But at the parallelly, they also know that the current variant is a little milder. Obviously, all those patients who have associated diseases, maybe coronary artery disease, liver diseases, kidney-related diseases, pancreatic disease, and other comorbidities, they obviously have a matter of concern, and those are the people who would probably benefit from the admission, and that is given. The hospitals, the public health side also needs to take appropriate care because as we were discussing in various other scenario forums, the oxygen requirement is going to increase as admissions increase, both ICU and ventilated cases, because we do have senior patients, we do have elderly patients, we do have patients with various comorbidities, and they need to be prioritized. Obviously, the tricky question is how do we ascertain in the first few days which variant it is and what would be the clinical complexity as the days progress in a given patient. And that's where the doctors, the COVID warriors sense comes in terms of how they advise the patients. On the patient side, I think there are clear guidelines for home care. When is it that you actually require to take immediate steps to get admissions? The indicators of fever of 101 more than 3 days, if not subsidized, if the blood pressure is going below 80 degrees systolic, if you have a severe reaction or other comorbidities like your sugar is not getting controlled, and so on and so forth. So those are the indicators when one needs to move from the home care and come to institutional care. And that's, I think, quite clear that we as a community, we as a public health aspect needs to be ascertain that our patients know this quite clearly, and then they take steps accordingly for the benefit of those who would really be requiring any medical attention, oxygen, and further treatment.
Right. Dr. Salunke, I'd like you to take this. Considering we're also talking after the Maharashtra government has announced that there not be any more genome sequencing. And like Dr. Deshmukh mentioned over there, that there is a need to ascertain which variant are we actually looking at. We've already seen a death due to the Omicron variant. So that's something that is that we need to look at. And how important is this certainty, because we need to understand the kind of clinical treatment that's required in both the variants. You would be the best person to actually help our audience know whether and how different is the kind of treatment that's meted out to, let's say, a person who's been infected by the Delta variant and one who's infected by the Omicron variant.
I think let us be very clear. At individual level, there is absolutely no need to know whether I am suffering from a Omicron variant or a Delta variant. There is no need. From the government's and public health perspective, we must know what kind of a percentage of the variant which is circulating. At this juncture, it is quite clear like a sunlight that Omicron is going to be a predominant variant which is going to circulate. So this is foregone conclusion. Under the circumstances, treatment protocol, and this was discussed in the NTF also, National Task Force. 1 month back, I had asked this question, that is there any significant difference in managing a case due to either Omicron or whether we are going to deal with the Delta? What is the significant difference as far as the treatment protocol is concerned? Fortunately for us, there is absolutely no difference. The standard treatment protocol that is being followed earlier for Delta or any other variant is practically same. The use of the drugs, the criteria for admission, when do you want to start ventilation, etc., etc. There are prolonged and the detailed guidelines have been shared with the health system. No change. So let us first and foremost understand that to know what variant, and from that perspective, genome sequencing has definitely a role, but genome sequencing is a complex process. Not every case need to go through the genome sequencing. So what government of Maharashtra has decided is correct. Number two, as far as actually what needs to be done today. We are talking about today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. We are not talking after a long-term plan. We need to do one primary healthcare approach. What do you mean by primary healthcare approach? Every city and every district with the primary healthcare, that means those institutions, they must have the list. They already have the list of comorbid people, those who are already vaccinated, and for every ward, the kind of and teams that will follow the people who are symptomatics and those who are at the home. Home care is going to be of greatest importance because we do not want comparatively milder symptomatics to come to the hospital. The one which we were talking earlier, कि बस कुछ हो रहा है कुछ तो let me go and get admitted. No way, don't do that. We can manage the cases at home comfortably, and fortunately, as everybody is saying, the rate of complications and the mortality ratios are comparatively definitely low. So because of that kind of a situation, let us try and primarily focus upon the home care. But at the same time, who needs to get away from home care and get admitted, those criteria are also let down. And that need to be monitored by the block level or ward level teams, and continuous interaction with the symptomatics is going to be a hallmark if we want to ensure that the health systems are not overloaded. And it is quite possible. We have done it. I know District Pune in Maharashtra has been able to do that quite systematically, and they are also now geared up. The approach that has been taken in Maharashtra can be really copied by entire country so that the tertiary care hospitals or teaching hospitals are not unnecessarily overloaded. Unless we do that, otherwise there will be a really big queue, and those rushing in this hospital themselves will be they are going to transmit. So super spreaders will not be anybody else, but the hospital themselves will become a super spreader centers. From that perspective, primary healthcare approach,
Absolutely.
ensuring that the people are assisted at their home level and then guided when to get admitted and managed well and discharged as and when very quickly when they have become asymptomatic. Do not wait for RT-PCR for discharge. There is no need. If we are going to wait for everything for RT-PCR and testing, we will be complicating the situation.
Okay, one final comment that I need from all of you, Dr. Deshmukh, Dr. Salunke and Dr. Gupta. Lockdowns. Now, both Mumbai and Delhi have decided that there is no need for a lockdown. And it's important to ensure here and also put forth before our audiences that we can't really look at COVID like we were in 2020, because it is a known virus, comparatively known virus now. So do you think lockdowns are needed, or they can be completely done away with?
At this stage, lockdown is definitely not needed. I can assure you that even though the number is more, as a matter of fact, I had made this statement that the commissioner of Mumbai Municipal Corporation said that if we cross 20,000 cases in Mumbai, we should go for lockdown. So I wanted to request him, sir, no need. Do not resort to that kind of an intervention. Today, it is more than 20,000 today. This just report is the more you test, more you get cases. So please don't put this kind of an arbitrary figure for lockdown. Lockdown has very serious consequences, and at this juncture, there is absolutely need for restriction on the movements, restrictions so that people do not conglomerate unnecessarily, restrictions where unwarranted number of people coming together in an area, in an, those institutions where they need not, restaurants, air-conditioned places, no need. So please avoid that. So put those restrictions, but lockdown, no. Please avoid that.
Absolutely. So I'll just take some quick words from Dr. Gupta and Dr. Deshmukh before I wrap up this edition, a very important discussion that we are having. But one quick word by Dr. Gupta and Dr. Deshmukh, please.
Yeah, so I would say that lockdown is completely unnecessary. Lockdown so far has not proved that it has restricted any kind of spread. On the contrary, there are some evidences which could showcase that lockdown has not influenced the spread at all. It could be what it was. It may temporarily halt the transmission, but it is already in the community, so it is everywhere. If it is everywhere, then lockdown is not the answer. The answer is that how people begin to see the gravity of the situation on their own. So they take precautions on their own of not moving out unnecessarily, not congregating unnecessarily,
Absolutely.
keeping themselves clean, and then getting themselves vaccinated. These are the only 4 things. The other important thing which I want to
Absolutely. So
highlight is
individual
about
responsibility that Dr. Gupta is hailing.
Right,
Your
yeah,
final word,
and
Dr.
also-
Deshmukh, before I wrap up this edition.
I think I'll just have 3 major points on closing. First of all, the current variant is a milder variant, and obviously it has to go up and go down, and we'll have a community immunity as such. Second major point is those who have comorbidities are the ones that the public health and the doctors and we should all be careful about to get them admitted and save lives as much as possible. And the third and final point that I would say is, from a public health perspective, every city has to see if the cases of Omicron are rising and if the health workers are getting stressed and if your capacity is going down. Obviously, the lockdowns are not the case, but before that, it has to be ensured that public gatherings and other such issues are taken care, and that is now, because even in Nagpur, we are doubling our cases,
Absolutely.
and by next week, we'll have multi-thousand cases everywhere. That's it from me.
But triaging is
All
the
right.
best.
So we all agree,
best
don't
way
drop
to
your mask.
address
That is
it.
the advisory out there.
Yeah, and triage.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Deshmukh, Dr. Salunke, and Dr. Gupta. We have, I'm sure we've run out of time on the broadcast, but we'll continue this discussion on Mirror Now like we have been doing. For now, don't drop your mask and stay safe. Thank you so much for watching.